Welcome back, everyone. It's Coach Blake as a Black Faker, and today we're going to be looking at a skill cap video here called "How Faker Crushes Counter Matchups." Now, I'll be talking about I'm talking about it on every single role. It won't just be this one specifically, because I know a lot of you guys don't even just play mid lane. So I'll just kind of take the concepts and kind of warp them overall if I can. Keep sending me videos if you guys want to see more of this. If you guys do like a lot of this, I can do it more than just once a week or once every now and then. If this is something you guys want to see more frequently, not even just skill cap, but could be pro guides, whatever you guys want to do. If you guys think you're getting clickbaited, or if you guys really want to know more about what something's telling you to do and you're just unsure if it's accurate or not, let me know. Send it in the Discord. And if you want to remain anonymous, I won't say anything about it. And I'll just use your video. If you want me to shout you out, I can do that too. So without further ado, let's get into how Faker crushes, stomps, counter matchups. All right, so before we start, I just want to say I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are staying sanitized. The people that are on my Patreon that are supporting content like this and other content, thank you guys. Even in this time, I still appreciate you guys getting sessions from me, and I still appreciate you guys donating on my Patreon and whatnot to keep everything going for me. And I hope you guys are doing just as well, and I hope you guys are really staying safe, and I hope you guys are doing all right, and I hope your families are okay too. That being said, there are 2 videos this week that I did upload, and Patreon does get 2 videos each week. They got the first video was about macro and micro, and the other video was just about, is it better to duo or is it better to just play solo? Which one's easier to climb with? And I just go over pros and cons of each and give you my opinion there. So if that sounds like something you want, if you guys want to check that out, you guys don't even have to really buy anything or donate anything to check it out. You can just look at it. Feel free to do it in the description below. But without further ado, let's get started. Let's see what we got.
Hey everyone. So we all know that feeling of getting counterpicked in mid and the matchup just feels unwinnable. Counterpicks can be annoying, yes, but mid is by far the most forgiving lane for them because the lane is so short compared to top and bot. If you go into a game with the right game plan, you can easily go even or win the lane. To show you an example, we're going to break down a game where Faker is playing Sylas versus Cassiopeia.
Okay, we'll stop here. First of all, once again, I actually say this pretty frequently, but I think it's more prevalent in skill capped videos. I mean, Pro Guys does it sometimes. I don't think Mobile does it as much, but they like to use challenger games to explain their point. Now, I know this is Faker, so clearly he's challenger or at least grandmaster. I don't really know which one is which. He could just be saying challenger, and it might just be like a diamond game. You don't even know. But keep in mind that this is not your elo mostly. I know a lot of you guys are diamond, platinum, gold, silver. This is not going to be your typical type of game. This is not going to be the typical type of scenarios that you would come across because your players don't play like that. So I just want to get that squared away.
Concepts in this video will apply to any champion though. First, let's break down the matchup. Sylas is an AP bruiser versus Cass, an AP control mage. Cass has more wave clear than Sylas by a decent amount and has the ranged advantage. Sylas wins in burst trades while Cass wins all ins if she lands her W or Q. This matchup is Cassio favored because if Sylas tries to go in with his E, Cassio puts her W on him and runs him down since Sylas can't actually kill the Cass with one rotation of abilities. Faker's game plan for this game will be the following.
I will say that their Q range is pretty decent. If you just max Q at Sylas and you just constantly try to get that poke on her, eventually you'll whittle her down to the point where you can all in as Sylas. That's just kind of how Sylas works. She's really just up in your face, bam, bam. She doesn't really have any sustain unless she procs a conquer off on you, or if she's taking like Ravenous or some shit like that, the domination tree. But even then, I don't even think it does that much to give it back to you, at least that early. So the range isn't really that different. You could literally just spam your Q, and she has to land something on you, whereas to get that trade off, just to hit Q on you first, and then she has to use E, whereas you could just use Q, and that's that. Once again, I'll try to warp it a little bit. Just kind of think about that when you guys are playing your matchups and champions, no matter what role it is. Think about how you could possibly overcome the situation, because most of the time the counter is to mechanical things about the champions, not necessarily to how the players play. So if you can kind of get your way of playing to be over how they play, you won't even really have any problems.
Mission 1. Let the wave push. It's a melee versus range matchup, and Silas has a wave clear disadvantage, so he has to let the wave push or he will get harassed hard at level 1. Mission 2. Stay healthy.
Not necessarily. I don't even think Cassiopeia's like wave clear at level 1 is that good. You definitely could put out a lot more damage if you just all in her at level 1, because she doesn't really have that much. She can poison you, but once again, I mean, if she does the Q and you just dash out of it, you dash onto her, it doesn't really matter. It's on cooldown. If she takes E first, well, once again, I mean, it doesn't really have a low cooldown unless you reset it, I believe. I could be totally wrong. That shit could just be a really low fucking cooldown. No, it's only a low cooldown when you have somebody in your queue. So, or is that only the speed boost? Her kit is like fucking ever changing. I'm pretty sure it's only low and you get a speed boost if you have somebody proc with your Q or your W, I believe. Could be wrong. I haven't seen what they did recently to her. And by recently, I mean a while ago, but I haven't really paid attention to it. But that's usually how she works, or how she did work. So let me know if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure Q wins the all-in anyway, regardless of what ability she takes. And usually they do take E.
This is a standard mission for melee versus range.
Sometimes they take you though.
It's important to not lose too much HP for CS. Mission 3.
Also, the way Silas works is that he can just dash in, and those his autos are AoE, you know, so that means that he can technically push the wave while harassing at the same time, which he can't do that unless he stands near the wave. Once again, really think about what your champion is good at. Really think about that, because the only person that knows your champion really well is you, and that's why I usually tell people to only play a couple of champions, because there's just way too many interactions with other champions that you are just clearly not going to know unless you play what you know.
Look for burst trades. Silas wins burst trades, so he needs to be able to go for them without getting all in. We will see how Faker does this soon. Alright, we have the game plan, let's get into the gameplay.
You don't necessarily have to play it like this. This is just what he's saying Faker does, I would hope. I think he's just going over the game plan. I'm not saying this is exactly how he does it, but I mean, it's how Faker crushes counter matchups. Seeing as this is only one matchup, I don't really understand how he... Okay, let's go.
At the start of the game, we have something that's going to change the dynamic big time for both mids. A level 1 fight happens where Faker and the Cassio both get a kill, use flash, and TP back to lane. Let's talk about how this changes things before we get into the lane phase. First off, both laners have a specific use for their TP in this kind of lane. Since Silas is in a counter matchup, his TP can basically be a get out of jail free card if he takes too much damage when going for last hits.
Which is exactly why I tell you guys, I usually take TP, and I encourage you guys to take TP if you know you're going to be in a really, really harass-heavy matchup.
Because he doesn't have it now, Mission 2 is really, really important. He's going to have to give up more CS than before, since he can't just TP back to lane with full health and potions. For Cassio, she wants to pressure Silas to try and get an early lead, but since Cassio's E costs a lot of mana, she will run out fast. If she runs out and doesn't have TP, it can be hard for her to get a good reset, so she would recall with enough gold to buy tier, then TP back to lane. So let's see how things play out without TP. Faker is going to start off just collecting last hits while Cassio TPs to lane. Silas can do a good amount of damage in a level 1 trade, but he can't go in here because, on the way out, he will take a lot of damage from Cassio autos, her E, and minion damage. So it's best to just sit back for missions 1 and 2. Cassio hits level 2 first, which is expected since the wave is pushing. Cassio knows Faker is going to walk up for this low health minion, and Faker knows Cassio is going to try and punish him for it. This is what separates Faker from a lot of other mid laners though. If it was me, I would just give this one minion, since the risk of getting hit by a Cassio Q and multiple E's isn't worth the reward of one melee minion to me. But Faker walks up and then to the side, perfectly dodging Cassio Q.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if he just dodges it, it's not really an issue.
So he doesn't get punished. After that, he's playing safe, collecting last hits while working on missions 1 and 2, until his jungler Poppy comes for a level 2 gank. Poppy doesn't really do much to the cast, and a lot of players here would just back off since the gank obviously failed. But Faker does something very important here and takes advantage of Cassio using Q on Poppy. This is a similar concept important to any lane on any champion, playing around important cooldowns.
I agree.
Everyone knows that Cassio does hardly any damage unless you're poisoned by her W or Q.
Okay, so I was right.
So, since Cassio used Q on Poppy, Faker went in with his E to chunk her out. Then, on the way out, he knows Cassio Q is coming back up, and as soon as it is, he he dodges to the side so she can't get any follow-up damage. Now, this is an advanced concept to really take your laning to the next level, but it comes with a ton of practice and just playing the game a lot. Faker can do this because he knows the cooldowns of Cassio very well, so he knew when her Q would be coming up and was prepared to dodge right away.
You don't really need to know the cooldowns precisely. I've actually talked about this to a lot of students. You honestly could just set a mental of, is it short, is it medium, or is it long? Short is about 2, 3, 4 seconds, that type of stuff. Medium is about 6 to 7, maybe 7.5 to 8, and then long, of course, is like 10 seconds and stuff like that. So if you could literally do that, you can kind of get that feel, so you don't have to actually know precisely. It's a little trick that I like to use.
Do you know the cooldown of Cassio Q?
Okay, let me guess. So I'm gonna say it's about short to medium. So I'm gonna say it's about 4 to 5 seconds, 6 maybe. But other than that, I wouldn't really know. I would just think it's short to medium. So in between the further spectrum of the short and the closer or the earlier spectrum of medium. I could be wrong though. Let's see. And it all still comes down to cooldowns
is
too.
3.5 seconds.
Okay, so there you go. See what I mean? So if you do that, it's easier for you to kind of just gauge it that way than having to know specific seconds, because you're probably not going to be looking at the timer as well as, you know, maybe even counting in your head. You're not going to do all that. It's just better to be like, how much time do I really fill out how much time you got left? And it's easier to just do it that way.
So he knew he had a 3-second window to go in, trade, then start backing off before needing to dodge her Q one more time.
Honestly, it doesn't look like he did that because her Q was coming up. It's just like he backed off the trade because he I'm not saying Faker definitely isn't thinking about this type of shit. He definitely is. But it just looks like he backed off because his combo was done. It didn't look like he just backed off just because. If we go back, look at this.
Trade.
He goes in. This is autos.
Before needing.
He doesn't have anything left at this point. What would be the point of staying in? He didn't just back off because she doesn't have any. He just doesn't have anything to do anything else. And this is why these videos are kind of hard to mimic, is because you don't know what the players are actually thinking and doing, because those aren't the players speaking. You know what I mean? And especially in like a challenger setup like this, it's just hard to mimic because you don't know why. You're not really understanding the scenario, just kind of going based off what they say. And so when you put that type of practice into your games, there's a reason why it doesn't work that well, or there's a reason why it's hit or miss. So really, really think about that. Understand yourself, like, oh, he just had nothing else left, rather than thinking that I have to time these amazing things and really be thinking about what else is coming up. I mean, when your window of opportunity is there, you take it. It has nothing to do with, you know, backing up. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe I'm over talking. I'm sorry if you guys are offended at all. This isn't a video to like BM the channel or anything like that. It's just a video sent to me by a student that just wants to know concepts about this. Is it pretty accurate, or is it just kind of wasting my time, so to speak? And as I said, I know some of you guys may not like the berating, but that's the learning process. You know, I have to kind of get into you guys' heads and really have you guys understand what's going on if you guys want me to continue doing content like this.
Need to dodge her Q one more time. The more cooldowns you can memorize, the more trading windows will open up for you.
It was a really good dodge though.
This is especially true with bigger cooldowns like LeBlanc W, ZW, or Fizz E. If you know the cooldown of these important abilities, you know how long you have to punish, which can lead to kills. Anyways, after that, let's look at the state of the lane. Cassio is half health with very little mana. Normally, she would have TP here, so she could use the last bit of her mana to shove the wave, then reset and TP back. Because she doesn't have it, she's in a tricky spot. She needs to somehow crash the wave onto the tower so she can recall, but Faker knows this and isn't going to let it happen. Let's see how this plays out.
So once again, what he's about to do means he has more knowledge than you do about the game, and anybody, because he's the one playing the game. He might look to all in. Even if he does, the jungler could be around. Like, there's just a lot of scenarios. I don't know what's going to happen, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here, that what might happen is a Faker thing, you know, is not something you can just replicate. You know, you have to make sure you have all those checkboxes ticked before you decide to go in for something crazy, where's the jungler, stuff like that. Because I've seen players, I've coached players that will do certain stuff like this, no matter the champion, if they can all in, they'll try, and the jungler will be sitting right there. Because, you know, especially once you get in a higher elo, they'll know, like, hey, this person wants to back, and And it's something that you'll probably even see people that you guys watch, like Tarzan, um, like Aframu, Double, like things like that. Like you'll notice that they'll do certain things to help their laner get out of lane to reset versus just letting them be punished by themselves. And that's just not something you see in the lower brackets. But once you start climbing, you'll see and you'll understand what I mean.
First, Faker is going to drop a ward topside since he knows Cassio is going to call her jungler to help her reset.
Yep.
This won't happen in lower elos really, but
exactly.
It's still important to ward.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Ward topside.
That's what I said.
Jungler Poppy is clearing her topside now. Anyways, the wave is frozen, and Cassio is very scared to walk up, so Faker is using his pressure to zone her off the wave just by walking at her. He knows she doesn't have enough mana to kill him right now. Eventually, the enemy jungler Olaf shows up and is fighting Poppy in the river, so both mid laners start to head over. Faker goes over the wall with E, but Olaf flashed away. Faker could actually die here if they turn on him, so he needs to walk through the miasma back towards his teammates. This was smart from him. A lot of players here wouldn't want to walk back over the miasma and would just get run down by Olaf. After that,
I don't think that's accurate. I think a lot of players would just run back. Why wouldn't they?
Olaf flashed away. Faker could actually die.
I don't like that. I don't like when he says. I'll be honest with you. I do not like when he says stuff like that. A lot of players usually wouldn't. Blah blah blah. That's making it seem like you don't know a lot of what he's already saying, and I don't know if it's a mental thing. I'm not a psychologist, but I definitely is that the right? I mean, is that the right profession to be using for that? I think so. Right? Am I wrong? I know they help with the brain and stuff, and they understand it, but is that the right one? Did I say psychiatrist? Psychologist. Wait. I don't even remember what I said. I think I said psychiatrist. I'm pretty sure I said psychologist. Anywho, I'm sorry. Hey, we having fun. But I don't know if it's a mental thing, but if you say something like, a lot of players do this, or if you say something like, not many do this, it kind of grabs your brain in a way that's like, oh, I don't. Oh, he's right. And that's what leads you into believing a lot more and kind of letting your guard down in terms of what you should be understanding and what you don't understand. Definitely think people would walk up. I mean, some people would walk down, but why? You have nothing else left. You would walk up. I know you guys would walk up.
I hear if they turn on him, so he needs to walk through the miasma back towards his teammates. This was smart from him. A lot of players here wouldn't want to walk back over the miasma and would just get run down by Olaf. After that, Cassio tries to take the time Faker is walking around the lane to crash this wave so she can finally reset. Faker makes sure to grab this wave and pull it away from the tower so it stays frozen, putting Cassio back in a terrible spot that she was in before. In high elo, like we talked about before, we know Cassio is going to spam ping her jungler here to help her break this freeze. In lower elos, this won't happen, so you can simply just win the lane here.
I don't like that. Once again, don't just do stuff because you're in low elo. I always preach this. I always say, when I coach you guys, I'm never like, well, just because it's silver, you can get away with this, so don't worry about it. No, you want to play the exact same way so you're ready for that high elo. You don't want to play a certain way because you're in lower elo, and it's okay. But when you get to higher elo, you're gonna have those habits, and then you're not even gonna know what to do to climb. So my philosophy has always just been get you ready rather than say what's okay to do right then and there.
The enemy laner will just reset and probably won't even know the lane is in a bad spot for them. If the enemy recalls and the wave is frozen like this, they lose a ton of CS on the way back to lane. But anyways, Faker keeps the wave frozen, so Cassio is forced to stay in lane. Faker knows he can just all-in her at any time, but he also knows Cassio's jungler has to be near. He goes for a really smart trade here, just walking at Cassio and using W and Q, then ease away as soon as Olaf shows up, dodging the Cassio
really
W
smart.
and Olaf axe. This was really, really well played because most players would just engage using their E onto the Cassio, then she would put miasma down and they would die to Olaf.
That is more of an accurate saying most players. Because like I said, that was a really good way he played that. Now, like I said before, though, that was bullshit. I think all you guys would definitely just walk up. Why would you guys walk into two players? I mean, I've seen some crazy shit, but I know you guys are better than that.
This is something you can do on almost any champion with mobility though. For example, as Fizz, Faker could just Q and W, then save E to get away and not engage with. On the Blanc, he could just walk up and use Chain and Q and save W in case Olaf shows up. But because Olaf is here, he breaks the freeze, which gives Cassio the chance to recall. Faker has to figure out how to get his own recall now with Silas's really weak wave clear. He's going to show us a really important wave control concept for these situations. The wave is going to crash on the tower here when the next wave shows up.
And then
Since this wave is still on the tower, he's not going to try and kill these minions really fast. He's going to let the tower help him clear it. Then these last 3 minions that aren't on the tower, he's going to clear as fast as possible. He needs to clear this wave before the next wave shows up, or Cassio will get back to lane and freeze. If you need to know where the next wave is, you can just look at your own minion wave that is coming. The enemy wave is mirrored on the other side of the map.
And wave management and control is stuff that I've spoken to other students about, and about kind of how to do it. I kind of have my own little trick for it, but which kind of just makes more sense because I know it's kind of a hard thing to get your grasp around. But I pretty much talk about how to keep it from crashing, how to keep it, you know, how do you know if it's going to crash, how do you know if it's going to slow push instead, and then slow push back to you or reset in the middle of the wave. And so, yeah, I mean, what he's talking about is definitely stuff that I already say. So, very good on that.
Alright, so it seems like Faker didn't get a lead here, right? The enemy junglers saved the Cassio and all of his work went to waste. Well, this actually isn't true, and we're about to see why.
I was going to say,
Faker
what?
gets back to lane, the wave is pushing to him,
And he's level
he
5.
can't freeze this like before because Cassio has full mana and will just walk up and harass him. Also, the wave's huge and will do a ton of damage to him, so he's just going to let it crash on the tower. While farming on the tower, Cassio walks up and looks to harass Faker, so instead of taking free damage, he makes sure to look for a quick burst trade with his W for mission 3. After that, Cassio leaves to help her jungler with Dragon, but she's only level 5 and Faker just hit 6.
So a lot of Silas's I've been coaching recently have been maxing W, and I honestly think that just came with the change, but I definitely think he was more reliable. If you know exactly what you're doing, take W, and especially if you're snowballing, it's just more reliable, and it's just able to get so much done. But if you're not snowballing, or if you don't really know exactly what you're doing, just max Q. It's way more efficient. It's way easier to keep you. It's way easier to keep you like from dying a lot because you're not so reliant on that W. You could just kind of, even in skirmishes and team fights, you could just poke with the Q and still do that much damage. And like I said, I've seen a lot of my students taking W on it, and this is why you don't want to copy and paste. You really kind of want to just understand, why is this guy maxing this? Why is this guy maxing that? Because it will help you out a lot. And I know some people that even have 100 games still tend to copy and paste the build rather than understand why. So really, really important, guys. Understand why you're doing something on your champion and understand why the build. If you guys have any questions about understanding it and you really just, you know, don't know why, just message me and be like, well, I'm not really sure why this person maxed this. I'm not really sure why this person bought this. And I can easily just tell you. Or you can ask my Discord in your respective role, and they could probably tell you as well. I usually read them anyway.
This is because Cassio's jungler shared a lot of experience with her earlier when he came to break the freeze.
Yeah, I was going to
Faker
say
got
what?
an experience lead.
That's what I said.
Let's see how important it was.
This guy.
So Faker heads down to Drake.
I understand that that concept, though, wasn't something a lot of you guys would have gotten. I'm doing it, too. I'm saying a lot of you guys. But no, I understand that concept that he just said with the level lead and sharing XP, you probably wouldn't have thought about. So that one is definitely something that you could have learned from this and really important.
And goes on to Cass, steals her ult, and one-shots her.
That's not really a one-shot, but okay.
His teammate died to the enemy Ezreal, though, so he comes around to cut them off, getting the kill on him, too. Silas snowballs insanely hard because of the presence of mind stacks that he gets along with the crazy healing on his W, so this lane is over. This double kill wouldn't have been possible if Cassio was level 6 and had her ult. Alright, let's do a quick recap before closing this one out. Before laning started, both Faker and Cassio got one kill, used flash, and had to TP back to lane. Because of this, they both wouldn't be able to use TP to refill on potions and mana like normal. This ended up being very important because Cassia wasted a lot of her mana harassing Poppy when she ganked at level 2, while Faker chunked her to half health. Because of this, Faker was able to freeze the lane, forcing the enemy jungler to come break the freeze and share a lot of experience with Cassio. After they both reset, Faker came back to lane and hit level 6 before Cassio, and used that level advantage to win the dragon fight for his team, landing him a double kill and closing out the lane.
Alright, so to sum up what this whole 10-minute video was about, abuse the fact that the summer cooldowns are down. I'm pretty sure you guys knew this already. Next thing that we just kind of focused on here was abuse the cooldowns of the champion that are down. Once again, something you guys know how to play around, and I'm certain of it, that you guys know, oh, this guy has no ability, this guy has no ult up, let's go. This guy has no Q up, let's go, stuff like that. This guy has no flash up, which is the first thing that we talked about, abusing the summoner spell, so you guys know this, and you guys do take advantage of it. I've seen it, and I've heard you guys talk about it already. So, abusing summoners, abusing cooldowns of champions, freezing the lane when you have the advantage in lane, and then, of course, using your level lead to your advantage. Those are the 4 things that we just learned from a 10-minute video, looking at a Faker's game, which you just cannot replicate anyway, rather than just talking over those concepts in the first place and helping players understand, like, hey, abuse those cooldowns. You can easily, like, this is just a video you could have made in a couple of minutes. And this is why I urge you guys to see stuff like this, because I want you guys to understand, is it the video even worth watching? Is it, you can tell if you guys start learning and picking up kind of what I look at. You guys can tell yourself, oh, this is just clickbait, oh, this is just that. So you're not ruining your gameplay, so you're not developing bad habits without even realizing it, because all you're trying to do is just copy what you've seen on guides and stuff like that. Because there are students that come to me that do copy things like that, and they're like, dude, I used to be silver, but I dropped to bronze. Dude, I used to be gold, and I dropped to silver. And I'm talking to them and helping them understand that what have you learned, what have you been doing. And when he plays the game, or she, when they play the game, they're talking to me and they're saying, well, I was told to do this, and I said, by who? They're like, oh, another coach. I'm like, okay. Sometimes the coach is right, sometimes the coach is wrong. Some coaches do not really care about you guys. Definitely not all coaches. There's a lot of good coaches, even free coaches, that really do care about you guys. But I have had students that just had coaches that didn't care. And that just goes in every profession, no matter what it is. There's just people that don't care as much as other people do. And then also they'll be like, well, I seen this video where they said, the best way to do this is this, the best way to do that is that. And I have to talk them out of it, and I have to help them understand, like, that's not the way to go. That's just one scenario and stuff like that. This is just one scenario. But the concepts of the video you can take. So this whole video right here works for every single lane. The problem is they are so, this is a lot of guide videos, honestly. They're so one-tracked on that certain scenario, it's really hard to replicate it. But if he just says, hey, abuse the summoner spells, abuse the cooldowns of the enemy champion, freeze the lane when you have that lead, or when you have that pressure to be able to all in, or when they're scared of you, and then use your level advantage when you rotate, or when you teleport, or when you roam. Use that level advantage to take over the game. Pay attention to the levels. Once again, stuff you guys already knew. And the experience, the level, like I said, the level thing was something that I don't think you guys actually might have known. I could be wrong, but there's a couple of students that just didn't know, especially when they walk by them and they're like, oh, that guy's level 5, but I'm level 6, and they're scared to do something like that. I have seen that several times by a lot of students. So that's like the most important tip, I think, from this. But for the most part, like I said, it's definitely just a long video, really for no reason. If you guys enjoyed this, though, thumbs up. If you guys want to see more of this on more days, also thumbs up. Put in the comments that you really enjoyed this. If you guys have any videos you want me to take a look at to see if it's clickbait, or to see if any of the concepts are even worth learning, let me know on my Discord. Put it in the comments below. Just link the video and say, hey. And then when you do send me the links, whether it's through Discord or through the comments, just tell me why you want me to look at it, and then I will choose the best one for it next time. So that's pretty much how it goes. That's pretty much how it is. Thank you once again, Patreons, for supporting stuff like this, allowing me to be able to do content like this, allowing me to be able to do free coachings in my Discord, free VOD reviews, free OP.GG reviews. So thank you guys for all your hard work, and especially the students as well. Thank you guys for booking with me and allow me to do it as well. So until next time, thank you guys for approaching this like a coach.